The time is 7:23, so we will call the meeting to order. For those who I have not met, my name is Jordan Crawley. I'm the chair of the 34th District Democrats. And hi, everyone. We're going to start our meeting. Yeah. All right. I'm Jordan Crawley, chair of the 34th District Democrats. Before we get started, I just want to lead off with a quick code of conduct reminder. In short, our organization is dedicated to maintaining a culture of respect, inclusion, and equity. We recognize our strength lies in diversity and urge our members and guests to acknowledge, celebrate, foster, and build on that diversity in all that we do. In being here tonight, you are agreeing to engage each other with respect and civility. Avoid negative and inflammatory discourse and interactions, and help us foster a safe, open, and welcoming and empowering environment. Encourage participation and lift all voices. I hope that we don't have to enforce that tonight, but if we do have certain immediate actions that we can take, including providing warnings, preventing people from speaking, and actually removing folks from meetings. If you believe that you've witnessed or experienced violative language or behavior, please let us know so that we can investigate and address it. Without further ado, I will hand things off to our first Vice Chair, Rachel Glass, for land acknowledgement.
Thank you. On behalf of the 34th LD Democrats, I acknowledge that the land on which we stand today is the traditional home of the Coast Salish and Duwamish people, the traditional home of all tribes and bands within the Suquamish, Tulalip, Snoqualmie, Puyallup, and Muckleshoot nations. Without them, we would not have access to this gathering or to this dialogue. I ask that we take this opportunity to thank the original caretakers of this land on which we live and work, who are still here. And as part of the 34th Dems' commitment to walking the walk, of taking action that goes beyond simply a verbal land acknowledgement, we are offering ways that you can take action with us by donating to organizations that benefit Indigenous communities in our district and across the country. And the link is okay. Well, you'll hear the name of the organization, and I do hope you can Google it. It's very easy to find. Please consider your donation to be a way to solidify your commitment to the advocacy of our Indigenous neighbors. And tonight's organization that I am highlighting is the United Indians of All Tribes Foundation. And I believe it's unitedindians.org. I believe that is the website. So, and it's like /give is the donation link. So please consider that for our spotlight group this week, this month. And thank you so much. Oh, and I'm going to segue right into our next specialness. Jean Moore, who is a poet of renown in our community. You might have seen her if you were at Bend It Like Booker last summer. She has created a new work of art, a poem that she's going to present for us tonight. So give her a big hand.
Thank you, Rachel. So I was asked recently to write a poem for the women's rally, and so I want to share that with you tonight. I was thinking in getting the poem together, the only way out of this mess we are in is if we have more women lead this country. Would you agree? More women should lead, yeah. So I wrote this poem called Women Take the Lead. Fierce, frightened, feisty, forlorn. We are all these things and so much more. Strong, sassy, smart, serene. We are all these things and so much more. We whisper loud to be free. Come sing with us. Come dance with us. Come learn with us and watch us lead. Why? For way too long, men held the reins with needs to conquer, control, domain. Democracy lost, people chained, billionaires bought, free press maimed. Mothers, daughters, sisters, wives, teach us how to guide our lives. We bind together, restore our core. Scars reveal how to heal without war. Scars reveal how to heal without war. We are all these things and so much more. Watch the magic as we take the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. Up next is our consent agenda. The two parts of our consent agenda are adopting the meeting minutes from our previous month's meeting, as well as adopting the agenda for this evening's meeting. So first matter of business, is there a motion to adopt the meeting minutes from our February membership meeting? Will you state your name for the motion, please? And Anne, was that you on the second? Nice. Is there any objection to adopting the meeting minutes from our February membership meeting? Any objection to adopting last month's minutes? All right, we'll consider last month's minutes adopted. Next is tonight's agenda. This was sent out to the membership for in each of the last 2 weeks with our Sunday emails. It's also here posted on this slide. Those of you who are on the live stream should also be able to see the slide as well. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda as presented? Is there a second? Any objection to adopting tonight's agenda? Any objection to adopting tonight's agenda? All right, then we will consider tonight's agenda also adopted. And with that, I will hand things off to our treasurer, Rebecca, to talk about our treasurer's report from February.
All right, thank you, Jordan. Hi, Rebecca, treasurer. I think there is a slide. There is a slide. That's wonderful. Thank you, thank you. Things are looking pretty good here in the 34th. We are actually tracking above my projection for income, which is I like to be wrong when it's in that sense. So we're doing very well, and kudos to all who are bringing in new members. Thank you so much. Expenses are also very much in line. No unexpected expenses this month. Everything very much in order. This room here, our one-time annual fee for the budgeting app we use, all very normal stuff. In the meeting event thing that Jordan sends out in advance, there is the full treasurer's report with all of the detail. But of course, if you have any questions, come find me at the back.
Thanks, Rebecca. So actually, next part, because I don't see, yes, Chris. Yes, if you give money right now, we can watch it go up. Do you want to test it out? Right here. Okay. I don't see any elected officials in the room, so we can skip VIP acknowledgements. Going once, going twice? Cool. Next step is also you, Rebecca.
You have to stand right where Jordan is.
All right, sorry to put you on the spot here, Megan. Thank you very much. Is Megan Atchison? Oh, wonderful. Come on up. Sorry to put you on the spot. Normally I like to meet you beforehand, but I was late today. So we have a new PCO to hopefully appoint tonight. And here's how this will go down. I know, it's exciting. Hey, and we've had some other interests. You want me to move over, Anne? Oh, nailed it. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Megan will very briefly introduce herself and why you'd like to be a PCO. I'm sorry, that's the first time I'm telling you this. And then I will read the PCO oath, and there will be a very simple question, which is to confirm that you are a Democrat. And then we will take a motion from the floor to appoint. So very briefly, Megan, what brings you to be a PCO?
Hello, I am Megan Atchison, and I've had a frog in my throat all day. I would like to be a precinct committee officer because of a variety of things. First and foremost, I do think that being involved politically is very important. I've always been involved to some way or another, but I work at the federal level, and I am really trying to get much more involved in what's happening in my state, more specifically even the city that I live in. And so I think it's also very important to ensure that that people are registered to vote, that they are getting to follow through on voting, because that is the only way that we can have our voices heard. So I would just like to do whatever I can to help support that process.
Awesome. Thanks, Megan. Yes, please do clap for that. So now I'll read the PCO oath, which is, I am willing to serve as a Democratic precinct committee officer or acting precinct coordinator, that is you in this case, until November 30th, 2026. I understand that it is my responsibility to know the boundaries of my precinct and to be familiar with its residents and registered voters. I understand that my duties are as follows: providing voters with campaign materials for endorsed candidates prior to each primary and general election, get out the vote activities, and new voter registration. Before the motion to appoint, please answer the question, are you a Democrat?
Yes, I am.
Great. And with that, I hand it off to Jordan. May I have a motion to appoint Megan? Thank you, Chris. A second? Oh, many seconds. Yeah. Wonderful. Yes. And many others. Do you want to hold the voice vote? Okay, I've never actually done this before. By a voice vote, all in favor of appointing Megan, say aye. Oh, there's tags too. Great. Aye or tags will work. All those opposed? Welcome to being a PCO. Thanks, Megan.
Okay, so the next part of our business tonight is a continuation of our exhilarating bylaws amendments. We took up discussion of this last month, and there was a matter that was left unresolved. So the request from the body was that we come back as a board, reconsider the language that had been proposed in the drafted bylaw amendment, and bring it back to you for consideration. So the language of that was shared in the weekly emails for the last couple weeks. It's also in these printed packets that are scattered around the room on the chairs. And for those of you with incredible eyesight, it's also up here on the slides. So what this, the matter that was unresolved tries to do is it tries to eliminate the incentive of us as an organization in future elections from pushing through endorsements before candidates can really build up the steam of their campaigns. There's a habit in a lot of political organizations of the political insiders, being us, leveraging the knowledge that we have in local elections and even some statewide and county federal elections to push forward endorsements before we really get to hear from incumbents, their challengers, and that's especially important in competitive Democratic races where we have multiple Democrats running for the same position. So what this does is it sets out a calendar by which we would consider endorsements. And when we would consider the endorsements relates to when those elections are. So for the February special elections, the earliest we would consider endorsement is January of that same year. For April special elections, it would be March of the same year. For August primary elections, it would generally be June. And November general elections would be September. I said generally June because for those of you with the packets, or if anybody happened to look at the language that was sent out in the emails, or you can see it on the screen, there's an asterisk there. That's because there's some additional clarifying language, which would allow us to consider endorsements earlier in the year, provided that there are not multiple Democrats running in the same race. Schedule endorsements for consideration, provided there's not more than one Democrat running in the same race. And that's essentially to give us the ability to endorse the sole Democrat running for an office after the filing deadline, so that we're not waiting too long to endorse these candidates. That can be especially important in the case where every year ahead of the primary election, we get our voters pamphlet. And the voters pamphlet is where candidates can list out their personal statements, their education and work history, as well as a lot of their endorsements. And for a lot of candidates, the endorsement of their local party organizations like ours are incredibly important. So given the opportunity to have one Democrat running in a race, we don't want to delay endorsement until after the voter pamphlet statements are due, and then eliminate the possibility of candidates to share out that they have in fact earned our endorsement. What this final paragraph goes on to clarify, you'll notice it's not in green, which means it's not changed, but it does allow us in certain cases to consider endorsements outside of this schedule. So if there is a vast majority of our body that believes that a candidate is worth endorsing, the threshold in here is 80%. So if 80% of our body were to agree that a candidate is worth considering for endorsement even before the filing deadline, that is still made possible by the language in this bylaw. But in the vast majority of cases, we would follow this schedule. So that was what was left unresolved after our last membership meeting. I'm curious, is there a motion to adopt this amendment as drafted? Okay, thank you, Anne. Is there a second? Thank you, Jean. Do you have a question, Chris? Yes.
Keep moving. Chris Porter, 34th. The 80% threshold, is that the meeting it has, or of the membership total number?
It is of members present and voting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Anne, would you like to speak to your motion? We need the microphone so the stream can hear you.
I remember now. This is in response to the discussion at the last meeting in which people felt that it was important to have the flexibility to allow people to be endorsed earlier. The reason it's such a high threshold is you are taking a major step in endorsing someone before you have a chance to see who all has filed for that position. So it gives flexibility, but it says you better be ready to make it happen with the majority of the people present and voting. Thank you.
Is there anyone who'd like to speak against the motion to adopt this bylaw as amended? Anyone who'd like to speak against the amendment? Okay, we'll try this the easy way. Is there any objection to adopting this bylaw amendment? Okay. So we will take a vote. We went past debate. Do you want to speak against the motion? Okay. Sure.
In a year when I think we're all feeling, we need better Democrats, do we want to rush to select Democrats before we've heard? Because I suspect a lot of these people are going to be incumbents. I don't know that, but I suspect mostly what this is about is endorsing incumbents. Do we want to do that? It's a question for everybody. So I guess that's I don't know that it's a good idea. So it's a statement from me, but it's a question for everybody.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Mhm. So I'll consider that a speaker against the motion. Who is the second on this one, Steve? Who is the second on the motion? Jean, would you like to speak to the motion, or we can close debate? It's up to you. Okay. So we'll just move forward with the vote then. This vote is for all members. So if you have your green or blue slip, you can feel free to stick it up. All those in favor of adopting the bylaw as amended? Okay, I've got 18. Okay, so 19. All those opposed? And we have 2. Okay, so motion carries and this bylaw is adopted as amended. The next one, which is here on the screen, essentially supplements that first amendment. It was taken off the table at the last meeting because passing this without passing the other one would have been weird. So what this one does is, as of right now, our bylaws do not require a candidate to file for office to be considered for endorsement. So we could pass the filing deadline. Somebody could have not filed for office and technically still run to get our endorsement. Now, the membership may not vote for them, considering that they haven't filed for office, but this would just very clearly lay out the fact that you would need to have filed for office in order to be qualified to earn our endorsement. It does offer the exception of if we are in those rare cases considering endorsement prior to the filing deadline, where we had 80% of the membership in agreement that the endorsement ought to be considered, then we would waive this requirement. I'll start with questions first. Does anyone have any questions about this? Yes, Michael.
Since you guys are being specific and picky, I mean, I wonder why you would endorse somebody who hadn't filed, but this removes the opportunity in those rare cases where potentially someone is running as a write-in candidate. If you put that in, now you can't endorse them at all. I don't think so, because you're a write-in.
Someone can check that.
But everybody is clear on what the meaning of this and the definition. And Michael, you're asking, why would we endorse somebody who hasn't filed? Would that just be because they're?
Well, he was.
I'll just come to you.
People miss the conversation that we had last time when we talked about this. And our current Attorney General couldn't meet the requirement, and we remembered, oh yeah, he needed to act because of when he decided to go in and get all that stuff. It would have been nice to give him a, hey, we like you. So, and we want to be able to do those kind of things when that happens.
Does this also refer to if there's an incumbent who is running unopposed, they still have to file though, right? But I mean,
Unless they meet the exception requirement of, like, because we wouldn't have scheduled their endorsement prior to the filing deadline, but if 80% or more of the membership believed that their endorsement ought to be considered, then we could raise that question of endorsing that candidate early, and this language would exempt the filing requirement in that case. But for like this year, for example, where we have Congresswoman Jayapal, Teresa Mosqueda from County Council, Lisa Mannion for County Prosecutor, and then our 3 state legislators who all may be running as unopposed candidates, period, let alone having other Democrats running. Once we get through the filing deadline, if they don't have any other candidates running against them, then having filed for office and being the only Democrat running and us not having endorsed them sooner than the filing deadline with the 80% requirement, we would just be able to slide through their the consideration of their endorsement, essentially. Yes, Anne.
What is this, a whole new condition, or is the file as a candidate for the office for which they are seeking endorsement an existing language?
It's an all new requirement. So as of
Okay.
right now, filing for office is not a requirement for our endorsement. So just for background, the circumstance that we ran into last year that kind of raised this question was that at our March membership meeting, we had a candidate come before our membership and introduce themselves as a candidate running for a particular office. And then come filing week, that candidate actually ended up filing for a different office. So it was the perception of the organization that they would be pursuing our endorsement as a candidate for a different race. And then when they actually filed, it was for a different race. So if there were ever a situation where the organization were like, you know what, we should consider endorsement early because this seems to be the only Democrat that's going to file. So 80% of the people in the room happen to agree that we should consider that endorsement early. Somebody could not have filed for office, earn our endorsement, and then file for a different office or not file altogether. It's a really random loophole, but it's there. This language lays out a requirement that would completely eliminate that opportunity. We do need a motion. Okay, thank you, Anne. Is there a second? Thank you, Chris. Is there any objection to adopting the bylaw as amended? Any objection to adopting the amendment? All right, then we'll consider that one adopted as well. Thank you for powering through that with me. Next thing on our agenda is taking a look at our platform. So every even year, the state party goes through a process of revising its platform ahead of midterm and presidential election cycles. And starting about 4 years ago, our organization began doing the same thing. So up until 2022, the 34th had simply fallen in line with the County Dems platform that they adopt also every even year. And we wanted to acknowledge the fact that there may be instances where our organization happens to disagree with the county party. So what we did in 2022 is we sat down and developed an entirely unique platform for the 34th Legislative District. And up here on the slides, laid out in the packets that are scattered around the room and also sent out in the weekly emails leading up to this meeting, are all of those platform pillars. There's 12 in total. Each lays out a general position in paragraph form and then lists out a set of values that help guide the positions that we may take on a given policy. Past platforms laid out specific things that we might support or oppose. So it was very specific, like niche policy driven. What this version of the platform does is it shifts us from those very specific suggestions of where we might fall on a policy issue to broad value statements, relatively broad value statements that we could then apply to just about any policy that we're coming up in that subject area. So it moves us more toward values-driven advocacy work than specific. Did we happen to agree or disagree on this very, very specific thing that the state legislature happens to be considering this session? So it makes it a little bit easier for us to apply our platform to certain things. Throughout the packets, the language that was submitted to everybody prior to the meeting, there are a couple of new additions to those value statements. They are bolded in green. The first is in the elections and voting category. We don't have a slide for that one, Colton. Thanks. But it would add the statement that we believe ranked choice voting results in the election of candidates who best reflect the values of their constituents, ensuring the most popular candidate wins. So that is one of them. There is, I believe, two more. There's at least one more. In the healthcare section, there is some new language that would expand our value statement on long-term care support to add that we believe family caregivers and improved training and compensation for professional workers are essential to comprehensive health care. And that is actually it. So it's just those two. We can try considering them together, or we can consider them separately. We'll try it the extremely easy way first, considering the two together. Is there a motion to adopt the platform as amended with those two amendments? Okay, we got Mike Parker and Hannah Cameron in the back with the second. Is there any objection to adopting the platform as amended? Yes.
New to this, so just a question. So I was looking through, wondering about where there would be like a section for immigration rights.
Yes.
I saw the civil rights thing, but I think I'm not sure how the categories are added in or whatnot. But that language, there's no language that I saw under the civil rights section. So how would we handle that since it's so vital, especially this year? Especially with this administration for the next few years. Yes.
Do we have any
So
responses or questions or?
How do people make a motion to either add or subtract from the platform that has been put before us?
we can do that right now.
All right. I think you're going to get to run here. I also have a couple comments.
So just making a motion?
Yeah, well, and we'll try to work through some proposed language.
I propose. Oh, I propose that we make it a point to include anything that would fall under immigrant rights that the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, is trying to push and you know, I don't know if you want a plank. Okay, I'm going to move for it to be a plank. Entitled Human Rights. Okay. Cool.
And here's Steve, he's our secretary.
Grace, yeah.
so he's
Oh,
right.
thanks. Okay, cool.
He wants to notate that you made this.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
I'm going to just put forward, I mean, I think this is really necessary, and thank you so much, Grace, for bringing it up. We may need to do a little work and research on like what we want to say and which aspects that we want to include of human rights, because I think this is worthy of doing it right. So would this be something that we take to the board, and the board would then put in language, and then we bring it back next month to the membership? I'm just
That's exactly how that
asking.
would work. Yeah, so the motion can be to table the conversation on the platform until the board can bring forward language on including human and immigrant rights in the platform for the organization.
Great. Okay, I'm going
And
to
then
run. Thank you, Grace.
we can, under that motion, also add in, for anybody else who might want to have any additions to the platform, add in other things that the board should be responsible for bringing back.
Before
next
you
month.
take the motion to table, which is not able to be debated, but can we maybe go, are there any other suggestions that people have? For
Yeah.
one, I would suggest that we take out professional before workers. I think that all workers, whether they're professional or not, healthcare workers should be fairly compensated. So I don't think that modifier is a good one. Elizabeth had another concern.
Under elections and voting, I would take out the word sacred.
At the summary.
In the executive summaries, it says, "We believe voting is a sacred right that must be accessible, secure, and free from suppression." I'm not sure what we're doing with sacred. Maybe there's another word that would be more appropriate.
Something like that. Yeah. Okay, so do you want to make that suggestion?
Yeah, I got it. I'm taking notes.
Chris, you have.
Under the executive summary for healthcare,
Center stage.
under the executive summary of healthcare, the very end, my recommendation is, and we believe that the zip code of the individual should not be the sole determination of their health status and longevity.
Any other, just after perusing the language, any other suggestions for amendments or additions or omissions? You got one? Okay, and Hannah, I'm coming to you next.
Hi, thank you, everyone. My name is Trent Gurley, by the way, since I haven't had the opportunity to meet a lot of people. I think that adding under civil rights that we should take a position on AI and how it's impacting us in our community. There also has been a significant debate in our city around mass surveillance. So I think that those are topics that we should probably discuss and take a position on.
Do you have specific language you would like to propose?
I don't have specific language right now, but I think that our government needs to work to regulate AI and make sure that we're protecting minors and just individuals, data privacy, all information like that. So.
Great. Thank you, Trent. Thank you. Trent? Grohe. Okay. Hannah. I'm getting a good workout.
I suppose this is a point of order. I just wanted to find out what the state of the existing motion on the floor is, and if we have the ability to adopt the platform as is and then potentially work in these additional edits at a later point if we have that motion that's been already seconded.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a motion to table supersedes the motion on the floor, right? Or no?
Yeah, I just haven't heard a motion to table. And
Yeah,
then,
that was at the start
Okay,
of it. It was a
but-
motion to table and then have the board take into consideration these other recommendations from
okay,
people.
gotcha. it just feels like we're maybe getting like not a process, you know, the process isn't the most important thing, but maybe we can close that out officially and then take suggestions or something like that.
Sure.
So do you
Well,
want to
if-
like propose?
There is a motion table on the floor. Oh, it wasn't seconded. So we're in the middle of needing a second on the motion to table. Okay, perfect.
Marie White seconds the motion to table. Are there, yes, Steve's writing. I see smoke coming out of his pen.
Yeah, there's no debate on the motion, but we have to vote.
No, I was trying to see if there were any other folks who wanted to omit or addition.
Yeah, we'll get
Okay.
it.
Oh, sorry, Dave.
Hi, Dave Allen. Under transportation, it says rural and urban areas deserve equal transit investments. I get what I imagine the sentiment was, but I imagine we don't want to say equal, that a rural area and an urban area should have equal transit investments. Maybe something more like equitable or meeting the community needs, something along those lines.
Did you get that, Jordan?
Yep.
Great. Any other?
Continue this
Yep.
conversation, 'cause we're doing
Oh.
that part of the conversation.
Okay, we could.
Okay, so we're going to take a vote on the motion to table consideration of the 2026 platform. All those in favor, raise up your very colorful ticket. All those opposed? All right, we were 18-2. So motion carries. We'll go back to the table as a board, bring forward some proposed amendments in line with these suggestions, and bring it forward again next month. Now,
Oh, I got. Sorry, Nick, Scott.
I have a suggestion. The board meetings are open and online. So these platform things can be discussed with members at the board meeting. Is that correct? Online?
yes, so we do hybrid board meetings. So we'll have a Zoom link set up. If you're a member and you want to listen on the conversations and hear what discussion is going on, you just have to email me at chair@34dems.org, and I can make sure that you get the link so that you can be party to those conversations as well. All right, so we'll move on to the next part, which is some really quick updates about the state convention. So for those of you who don't know, later on this year in June, from the 19th to the 21st, we will be sending a delegation to Spokane to participate in the 2026 State Democratic Convention. Now, fun little tidbit. I mentioned this at the beginning of this last month. So of the 49 legislative districts in the state, there were only 17 that maxed out their total delegate allotment. We were one of them. Oh, it gets better. It gets better. Of those 17, only 4 LDs recruited enough delegates to fill those delegation slots. We were one of those 4. Because Congresswoman Jayapal, Attorney General Nick Brown, Drew Stepp, who serves on the state committee as representative from the county party, Rachel, myself, Ted Barker, and Roxanne Thayer are state committee representatives, and our 3 Democratic state legislators. We are the only one of those 4 that has 10 automatic delegates. That means that in the state of Washington, we will have the single largest delegation going to the state convention. It's not a competition, but it is. So,
Just saying.
our delegation includes the people that are up here on the screen. I don't have them in the packets, but we will be, as we move throughout this process, we'll be working closely with those 50 people to draft a couple resolutions to go before the body at the state convention, to through the committee work involved in the convention, develop a platform, resolutions, bylaws, the credentialing process for the state convention. And then when we get to the convention itself, being the largest delegation, we will have a significant voice in driving forward the priorities and values of the state party. So I know we have some of our delegates in the room. So I'm excited to have that group going to Spokane. A lot of people seem to be going in person or be interested in going in person. So that'll be a great experience. As part of our first delegation meeting, which was this last Sunday, we elected our delegation leadership team, which includes the delegation chair, delegation vice chair, and then representatives to those 4 standing committees of platform, rules, resolutions, and credentials. Up here on the screen, those are the ones that are different colors. So I'm serving as the delegation chair. I'm down at the bottom of the first column in pink. Rachel Glass, our first vice chair, is our delegation vice chair. And then we have up here, you can see Bunny Hatcher, Chris Porter, Roxanne Thayer, and then Taylor Olson are our 4 standing committee representatives. So those are the folks who will be leading the delegation through platform, resolutions, bylaws, credentials. Yeah, so, oh, yes, Drew is, did I not highlight him? Okay, sorry, Drew. I'll get you later, buddy. Yeah, so those will be the people that will be leading our delegation through this process over the next few months. The initial reports from those standing committees come out in April, and then we have an opportunity to amend those moving through May, and then mid to late June, we'll be headed to Spokane. So exciting stuff. I'm going to close out tonight's meeting with some quick reminders. The Vashon Food Bank is having their ribbon cutting at noon on Friday. So if you are not from Vashon and you'd like to head out to the island, that's a great excuse to get out there. We will have our next pop-up social as an organization at Camp West near the Alaska Junction on the last Friday of the month at 5:30. We will have our fundraiser is coming up. So every year the 34th does their annual fundraiser. This year we have the opportunity to have it at the brand new White Center Hub in Savusa Hall, which is named for Celie Savusa, who's a member of this organization, a part of our delegation going to the state convention, an incredible community leader. So we'll be there on May 30th. The main event is from 6:30 to 8:30, but there is a cocktail hour prior from 5:30 to 6:30. There are flyers on each of the chairs here with a QR code if you'd like to purchase a ticket, sign up to be a sponsor, or a table caps and a co-host. We have a very cool list of sponsors this year. We have a commitment from Congresswoman Jayapal, our State Attorney General Nick Brown, and then King County Council Member Teresa Mosqueda, Brianna Thomas, Dion Foster, Sarah Moore, Hugo Garcia, Ryan Calkins, Hamdi Mohammed, Gina Top, Eileen Cody, Tom Rasmussen was a former City Council member, myself and Martin. We have a candidate for King County Assessor Rob Foxcurran. We also, before I printed off, or after I printed off this flyer, we also got our state senator Emily Alvarado in as a sponsor. So huge and growing list of people. SEIU 925 is also coming on as a sponsor. So that's a really cool opportunity. So really great room full of people. We'll have that cocktail hour, wine and beer during the main event. We're working on having some heavy appetizers and things from the White Center and Burien area. So feel free to join us. The hub is a beautiful space. We will also, Sine Die is tomorrow. What is? Sine Die, the state legislature. Officially, sure, if you want to say it like that. It's Latin, it's Sine Die. It's the official end of session. So our legislators have been down there going through the ringer. So if you want to give them a call, an email, go down and visit them in person tomorrow, give them a big hug. It's been a rough last 60 days. So the record-setting debate on the millionaire's tax. So it was over 24 hours, 25. They're coming for Bend It Like Booker. I don't like it. Okay. But yeah, they've been doing incredible work. Rep Thomas has been all over social media sharing about her work down there. So really cool stuff to watch. Yes. There's also a sound transit panel on the West Seattle Link extension coming up on April 1st. That will be at the Youngstown Cultural Arts Center, DNDA, over on Delridge. That's an evening event. I believe it's from 6:30 to 8:30. King County Councilmember Teresa Mosqueda has been heading it up. Our organization is sponsor along with the West Seattle Chamber of Commerce and the Junction Association, hearing from leaders from the Sound Transit Board about the proposed project, changes to the project given their budget constraints, and what West Seattle can expect in terms of light rail. We will also have our April membership meeting on Wednesday, April 8th. We will have our pre-meeting program again kicking off at 6 with the main business meeting starting at 7. Our pre-meeting program next month is our Civics Mini Jamboree. We're partnering with the organization West Seattle Joiners to bring in civics-based organizations to actually table right here in this room. So if you're looking for other opportunities within and without the Democratic Party to get involved in and around the 34th Legislative District, we should have some great organizations here in the room with us. We will be bringing our platform back for consideration with additional recommendations. And we will also be considering our budget updates. So our fiscal year for the organization runs from May 1st through April 30th of the following year. That's to make sure that we have some continuity between boards as we get through reorganization at the close of even years heading into odd years. We don't have to kick off the new year trying to figure out a brand new budget. That being said, every member of the 34th gets to have their voice in deciding where our budget lands. Our budget drives all of our priorities for the next fiscal year. So one of the things that's come up in conversation lately for this next fiscal year's budget is the fact that we're doing mostly in-person meetings now. In-person meetings cost money. Money is pretty hard to come by for political organizations. So figuring out to what extent we want to continue in-person meetings and setting out a budget that is in line with that as wherever it may fall as a priority for the body is part of that budget conversation. Another part is understanding what elections we have coming up this year. We don't have as many as last year, given that it's not a local election year, but we do have some, and their jurisdictions are larger, so donations tend to be a little bit higher. So setting out to what extent we want to financially support the candidates that we endorse is also a part of that budget conversation. So being a member of the organization is an important part of helping us decide how we put our money where our mouth is in a lot of these conversations. So it'll be important to be a part of that. Also related to that is renewing your membership. So we have written into our bylaws that we have a 60-day joining requirement. So from wherever we may be considering endorsements, 60 days prior to that membership meeting is the deadline to join and vote in that endorsement vote. As you just heard in some of these bylaws conversations, we may be considering endorsements in May. That puts the deadline for that meeting as this Saturday. So this Saturday is the deadline to join as a member of the 34th in order to vote in those May endorsements. We'll also be taking up additional endorsements in June, which puts, and the deadline for that is Saturday, April 11th. So 3 days after our next membership meeting. So in all of the weekly emails, I always have a little note about when the next deadline is. Those are the next two big ones. If you want to make your voice heard in our endorsements, you have to join by those dates. Did you have something?
Yeah, there are other things that as a member you get to vote for. It isn't just for endorsement. I mean, endorsement's a big one, but there are a lot of things that, like voting for our delegation. There were people who were like, wait, how come I didn't get a ballot? And it's because they didn't become a member. And so there are other things. I mean, there's plenty of things. I can't even think of them all off the top of my head, but that you are able to vote for in these, like when we are voting on our platform and voting on the planks and all of these things, you get to vote. And if you're not a member, you don't get to vote. So consider the benefits of being a member are plentiful. Make your voice heard.
Yeah, just for clarification, does this apply to renewals as well as new membership?
No, just it only applies to new members. So if you were a member in the last calendar year, then when you renew your membership in 2026, you're considered a returning member. So you have until, I think it's 8 p.m. the day prior to the consideration of the endorsements to renew your membership. But if you would be a brand new member this year, or if you haven't joined, or if you haven't been a member in the last 2 years, then you would be considered a new member for the purposes of endorsement. Yeah. We got a question over here.
Who had the question? Oh, Joyce.
This is a PCO question. I understand there's a filing date window from May 4th through May 8th.
Yes.
So every PCO has to file during that period of time in order to continue to be a PCO or be considered to be a PCO. Is that the case?
Yes. So
Okay.
PCO terms run from December 1st through November 30th, 2 years later. So what happens is PCOs are technically elected an elected position, and in order to earn that elected position, just like any other office, you have to file as a candidate. So filing week is the same filing week as every other candidate. So it's the week following the first Monday in May, the 5th this year, the 4th, something like that. So that first 5-day period following the first Monday in May is filing week. So whether you are or are not a PCO, you are welcome to file to run to be a PCO. If after the filing deadline, there's only one person who's filed, you're technically automatically elected. And after the primary, they'll send you a super cool certificate in the mail congratulating you for being a PCO. And then we do have multiple people who file for the same precinct, then there's actually an election for that. So your name would be on the ballot. Your neighbors in your precinct would get to fill out the bubble next to your name and actually vote for you. So really cool either way. And then if you end up winning that, then you get the super pretty certificate. So, and then your term would then start on December 1st of this year, where as a PCO, you actually get to help shape the party from the bottom up. So something that I've talked about quite a bit during my tenure as chair is that the Democratic Party is designed to be a grassroots organization. Now, whether it has been that way in practice is another question, but by design, the Democratic Party is supposed to be a grassroots organization. Bottom up. We are not the bottom rung of the Democratic Party here in a legislative district. We're actually its foundation. So in December, there's an entire reorganization process kicks off. So the county party reorganizes with a direct vote from the PCOs in electing their officers. And then the county party helps the legislative districts across their county reorganize. So you directly elect the officers of the county party, you directly elect the officers of this organization, and then those officers, as representatives to the state party, go on and elect the officers of the state party. So you get to build the Democratic Party as a PCO. So we always encourage folks who are interested in shaping the Democratic Party to get involved as a PCO, because that's one of the most effective ways you can do it. And it also gives you automatic membership to your legislative district. So you get to vote in all business of your party, your local party organization. So really cool stuff being a PCO. But
when do the tickets for the fundraiser go on sale? Or
they're live right now. Yeah.
I just wanted to give a real, and this is for if in case folks are just wondering, what do I get to vote for as being a PCO? And there are, as Jordan said, everything, but I just thought I would give you a real world situation so that you can go, whoa, I get to do that. When Joe Wynn, who was our state senator, got tapped by the governor to go be in his cabinet, that vacated his seat. And the person who wanted to run to take his seat was Emily Alvarado. She was a rep. So not only did the rep seat become open, but the state Senate seat came open. And we, because from RLD, we got to vote for who we wanted. And there were people who ran to take that seat, succeed that seat. We, the PCOs, got to vote on that. I think that is a huge, amazing kind of a opportunity that we got as PCOs, was to have a say in who was going to succeed the state Senate seat and the state rep seat. That was us. Question?
I'm just curious, did the PCOs go to their precincts to kind of see how everybody felt about, say, Breonna Thomas? What do you think?
We went to, it was a
Bellevue Community College.
Community College. Bellevue? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, the Vashon people remember.
It was in our
we were out on
district,
Bellevue.
but okay. We went, all the people who wanted to run, we had several candidates. They came and they gave a statement. We all sat, we listened, and then we got to vote literally on who that was going to be.
Yeah,
that
to
was
directly
us.
answer your question, it was up to the PCOs. If they
Yeah.
if they wanted to go canvass their precinct and gauge the popularity of the different candidates among their neighbors, they were welcome to do that. But
Yeah, as a PCO, you are representing your precinct, and not every representative needs to go to every person in their precinct, but you can, if you want, gauge the feelings of the poll. Yeah, you can do a poll, but you don't need to. You have been elected, sort of, to represent those people, and your voice is what you take forward. They can volunteer to run next time. Yeah. In fact, you might tell them that.
Yeah, it's a great, very powerful opportunity that is given to the PCOs. And I have been a PCO, just my personal testimony. I've been a PCO since 2015, and I have just been, I know the panel was talking about what inspires them. Well, one of the things that inspires me is the fact that I am reminded daily that my voice makes a difference, and that my neighbors look to me to get sage advice on what the candidates are doing or what the issues are. And I get to tell them, and I feel that I am well prepared with education and knowledge because I come to these meetings, I meet the candidates, I hear about the issues that are going on, I see how the process works, the democratic process. I get to be part of that. And every time you all come to these meetings, you get to be involved with that. That is incredibly inspiring and giving us the awareness of how much influence we do have over what happens in our district, in our city, in our community. So if anyone has ever wondered, should I be a PCO? I cannot recommend it enough. We have lots of available open precincts in this district. And I just think that it's so rewarding to take on that opportunity. I call it an opportunity.
Okay, this is kind of a detail, but when the elections occur, I get a list of everybody in our precinct. But after the election's over, I don't know who all is in our precinct anymore. So is there a way to get an updated membership list or yes, who the yeah. Outside of the election, is there any way to get that again?
Well, my response to that, and I know that I've been doing this for so many years, I know a lot of my neighbors. So I know which houses where my Democratic neighbors live. Well, no, it's okay. I mean, the more that you go, the more that you will get to know them. And Nick is our former PCO chair, so he probably knows a lot of answers about PCO things.
You know, PCOs will be getting a list before every election, whether it be the primary or the November election. So you'll have a list of all Democrats in your precinct. We don't go. It's just keep the list. It's for you. And also too, on top of it is it's just Democrats. We don't. The other candidates, the candidates, I should say, are the ones that knock on the doors of maybe a person that we may not want to talk to. That's the candidate's job.
So I don't know if this can be entertained here, but it just strikes me that back in the caucus days, the PCOs were very important. They were like the core of it. And I'm just curious for people who have gone over and beyond that. Is that one of the reasons it's harder to fill the spot? Because they were absolutely necessary then. We all had to sit around a table with our PCO, right? So how's that change working? And how's that working in terms of your connection to your precinct?
I am not, I mean, I can say you work two different precincts?
And so that was more different, but now I see more people in my precinct. And I didn't see as many people attend the conference. So it is actually better to have the people and knocking on the door. And I get to know that.
We're going to do a couple more comments, and then I'm going to try to close this out.
As someone who actually had a precinct caucus in my home, which is I think is what you are referring to, very few people showed up. So I agree that having a joint caucus, one where you have multiple precincts represented, is a good way to get the energy that you can need to go forward. We've sort of cut out that first step process. With COVID, there was the need to scale back. Those things are very expensive, but they are also a way for us to get membership. So we've got to work on that differently. When you get to know the people in your precinct, they are, I had someone who used to say, oh, it's election time. You're coming and knocking on my door. So there are really good things that come from having precinct representatives, PCOs in your precinct, because people are looking for the information that you have, as Rachel was saying. So please sign up to be a PCO. Make those connections with your neighbors. Share the information that you take from here. Tell people, talk to your elected officials. They are not gods. They are not demons. They are people representing you, so talk to them. So as a PCO, you can do that.
Yeah. And coming to these meetings is a great way to find out who's a PCO in a different precinct from yours and who's doing what. And Rebecca, look at our friend Rebecca, who's here at the meeting. She is in charge. She's the chair of the PCO committee. So if you're wondering, does my precinct have somebody already as a PCO, or is it a vacant precinct? She will be able to tell you in a matter of minutes. And so you can then take the next step from there, knowing that information. You can find out a lot from coming to these meetings, finding out, which people are doing what in the neighborhood and in the community. It's a good way to find that out. Did you have another?
Hold on, hang on. Before this gets too far away from us, we can continue the conversation after the meeting adjourns. But I know it's been a long night, so we're gonna try to get people home.
I just wanted to make a plug for.
What do you got, Terry?
It fits in really well with with the precinct thing, but the theme of No Kings 2 on March 28th is this hyper local idea, block by block organizing that you need to do. We need to do before ICE comes, and that's the main takeaway from what people learned in Minneapolis, is that it has to be, and I think that this party is organized already along neighborhood precinct things. That's what you do. So you guys should be the ones who take the opportunity to, around the 28th, to say, hey, it's time for us to host a party. And I can give you I can send you a QR code for that. But thanks.
All right, thank you. So I'll just close with this one final comment. That's something that one of the themes that came up in the pre-meeting program was hope. And I actually made a note of it here because it reminded me of a conversation that I had a couple months back where typically when we talk about hope is talked about as an idea. It's talked about as something that's vague, intangible, but something that's become more apparent as we've gone through the last 14 months, that's felt like 10 years, is that hope is actually an action word. It calls us to actually get out in our community and do something. And organizations like this, organizations like the ones that were represented on our panel earlier this evening, organizations like you'll have the opportunity to meet next month during our pre-meeting program, those are the organizations that are giving folks the opportunity to actually act out hope, to give their communities something to drive toward and build something better. So thank you all for being with us tonight. Anyone who stayed on the stream, hold on. Anyone who stayed on the stream, thank you for sticking it out. I know we had some folks from Vashon out there. One final comment, and then we're going to adjourn the meeting. So don't keep people till 9:30.
Good at the order. I forgot to mention this during some time around the panel because this is related. There are several, this is the QR code for a Signal chat. The Signal chats, people are very, very concerned that they are secure because, as we know, this happened with Pete Hegseth. He just let a journalist onto the Signal chat. Didn't mean to do that. But we want to make sure our Signal chats are secure. And this is a Signal chat for rapid response it's in our neighborhood in this district, but it's also in the city of Seattle. So but it has been vetted. That's the most important thing. It has been vetted. So if you would like to get on this Signal chat, just come by and scan this QR code. I'll stick around here for a little while just to make sure that if you want to, you can. But again, if you want to take your first step or take your fifth step, to do something to help your neighbors, to keep our communities safer, and to do the stuff that our panelists are talking about, this is a way to do it.
Is there any objection to adjourning the meeting? Got it. Thank you, Chris. Then we'll officially call it at 8:37. We do have the room for a little longer, so if you didn't get a chance to grab food, or even if you did and you want more, please enjoy the food in the back, and we'll see you next month. Thank you.